antiquity, some big hitters lived on the island of Samos, like the philosopher Epicurus, the astronomer Aristarchus, and, most famous of all, the mathematician Pythagoras. You may remember him from the Pythagorean theorem in your school days, and on Samos you can journey to the caves where he is believed to have lived and taught during a self-imposed exile in the 6th century BC. The island is almost touching distance from Turkey, on the other side of the Mikael Strait, while its coast is dimpled with coves and natural harbors like the idyllic Kokkari. Today we share the top 10 best things to do in Samos so you can plan a trip and experience all the exciting attractions and activities this beautiful city has to offer. Starting with number 10, Heraion of Samos. This temple is a UNESCO World Heritage Site along with Pythagorean, the ruins of the ancient town of Samos. Begun in the late Archaic period in the 6th century BC, but with much older roots, this massive Ionic temple to Hera was the first of ancient Greece's large freestanding temples. It was the third to be built at this location and was never actually completed, with construction continuing into the Roman period. In Byzantine times, the temple, obsolete as a pagan place of worship, was gradually dismantled and quarried for its marble. Only one of 115 original columns is still standing, but you can see their torus-shaped bases in the ground. At number 9 is the Tunnel of Eupalinos. The ancient engineer Eupalinos was the brains behind this tunnel up the slope of Mount Castro from Pythagoras. Built in the 6th century BC, the tunnel was the first in the world to be excavated from both ends using mathematical calculations. It was built as an aqueduct to convey water through Mount Castro to ancient Pythagorean, so the city could survive in times of siege. The aqueduct functioned for a whole millennium and is staggering, both in terms of its length, more than 1 kilometer, and when you think about the calculations that made it possible. At number 8, Kokkari. The fishing village of Kokkari is almost too pretty for words. The harbor here sees less fishing traffic now, but still has little wooden boats anchored in the water. Today it is encircled by tavernas and cafes that have terraces filling the narrow quaysides. From your table you can survey the harbor, which is screened by a mole that pushes out east from a picturesque headland, topped with pines and with houses and clinging to its base. At the restaurants, the water will almost be lapping at your feet as you dine, and people bathe on the narrow pebble beach. At number 7, Tsamadou Beach. Moments west of Kokkari is an exquisite pebble beach down a crumbling track from the main coastal road. Tsamadou is the only official nudist beach on Samos, and this applies to the eastern end under the cliffs. On the remainder of the bay are 3 beach bars with long rows of sun loungers. These are recommended as the fine pebble surface might be a bit uncomfortable to lie on. Fortunately, the bar on the western end has sun loungers included in the price of a drink. At number 6 in our list, Livadaki Beach. Only 10 kilometers from Samos town, Livadaki will seem further because you have to drive a coastal road that hugs the craggy coastline. Your destination is a beach in the island's far northeast, managed by a bar and laid with a grid of sun loungers up to 8 deep. None of that should put you off because the beach is fabulous, and there isn't a single building to be seen on the green slopes around this narrow cove. The sea is so shallow that you have to wade out 50 meters before you can even swim, and you can borrow a paddleboard from the bar for no extra charge. At number 5, Mount Kerkis. Samos rocky hinterland has 45 signposted hiking routes, but if there's one natural sight that captures everyone's imagination, it's the 1,433-meter Mount Kerkis, unavoidable on the western half of the island. This peak is an extinct volcano and is the second highest landform in the Aegean. Mount Kerkis is laced with caves and gorges, and on your hike you'll be greeted by small chapels and monasteries, Megali Panagia, Moni Evangelistrias Marathokambos. The good news is that the trail has a lot of cover from the pines on the lower slopes, and you'll have mountain goats for company with bells ringing on their necks. Less fun are the big fields of scree near the top, which will test even the most seasoned hikers. At number 4, Cave of Pythagoras. At one of the trailheads for an ascent of Mount Kerkis is the possible location of the cave where Pythagoras, the ancient philosopher and mathematician, hid from Polycrates in the 6th century BC. There are actually 2 caves, the larger of which is up the main steps and was used as a classroom and source of drinking water. At the entrance to this cave is the small white Panagia Sarantascaleotissa chapel. The trickier of the 2 caves to access is Pythagoras' dwelling, at the end of a tough trail marked by red signs and with a fig tree not far from the entrance. For both caves, the real purpose of a visit is to be able to tell people you've been there, and for the spectacular seascapes. At number 3 in our list, Lemonakia Beach. Next door to Tsamadou is the captivating Lemonakia Beach, which is slightly smaller but matches its neighbor for natural beauty. Down a 100-meter stairway, Lemonakia feels a lot busier than Tsamadou, maybe because there's less room. With a surface of pebbles, the beach is filled with sun loungers, and these are a necessity for comfort. A pair of loungers and a parasol will cost €6 per day. At number 2, Psili Beach. Far from the other beaches on this list, Psili is on the Mykoles Strait facing Turkey's Dilek Peninsula, which is only 1,200 meters away. The name Psili literally means fine sand, and that's exactly what you get here. So the beach already has an advantage over some others on Samos. You won't need swim shoes to enter the water, and looking at the sandy seabed you'll spot little fish around your feet in the rippling, crystalline sea. As ever, Psili is an organized beach and sun loungers cost €6, a small price to pay for the green setting. Check out the number 1 places in our list, Potami Waterfalls. Near Karlovasi is a waterfall that feeds a long, narrow gorge with high walls. To get to the base of the first waterfall you have to wade through the pools on riverbed. And to do this you'll need sports shoes or even swim shoes, as you'll spend a lot of the time in the water. Now, if you're in good shape and know a thing or two about climbing, you can scale the waterfall with the help of a rope. If not, you can inch up a rickety wooden stairway to be greeted by an isolated taverna. Now it's time to hear from you. What's your favorite things to do in Samos? Is there something we missed? Let us know in the comments section below, and don't forget to give this video a like and subscribe to Greenable if you haven't already. Click the bell icon to stay updated on all our latest content.